literally have no idea what I'm teaching tomorrow. Maybe Prometheus.
It's a great way to start the video.
Now you made her have to edit it. You've
I'm
already
not
done it.
editing this. I am not editing this. It would take way too long.
They're going to learn about Prometheus. That's what they're going to learn about. And there's always someone who whenever I teach mythology, there's always some kid who's freaking read Percy Jackson or read mythology and wants to spoil it. It's like, stop spoiling the end of this for everybody else. As soon as I say, and then Zeus had Epimetheus create Pandora, the first woman, some kid says, it's the box. Like, everyone doesn't know that. Stop.
Could you really spoil history?
Yeah,
like I once was talking about Hamilton and had somebody blow up at me because I spoiled the end of Hamilton, which is literally history.
So wait, before you guys keep going, I just want to say hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. These are two of my friends who also have their own channels, and then some extra stuff, which we'll get into. I think you have probably seen them on World Hoppers if you've watched World Hoppers before, but I'll let them introduce themselves because this is the first time we've done a video here on my channel. They've I feel like that was a great intro for you, Alan, as to how you are as a human being.
And Michael, if you're in a classroom setting and trying to tell everybody the story, then yes, it is spoilers. Otherwise, no, what you did is fine. But like, if I was trying to teach Hamilton and then some kid's like, Aaron Burr shoots him, then yeah, you're spoiling it.
Alan, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Alan. I have a channel. It's the Library of Alexandria. If you try to Google it, or if you try to YouTube it, YouTube will be like, did you mean the Library of Alexandria? And then you have to say no. If you just type in Alexandria instead, then it will pop up. And I am generally, whenever I'm with Michael, Michael has such terrible takes. Like, I always have.
I did not prompt this aggression at all. Alan has a wonderful channel. He's a history teacher by day. He talks about books at night. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being.
Thank you, Michael. I always sound grumpy when I'm on a video with Michael.
He's always so hostile, and I'm just trying to live my life.
You didn't sound grumpy last week when we were.
Oh, well, I wasn't tired.
You didn't know. You missed the beginning where he did come across at the beginning of our talk last week pretty hostile.
Really? What was he talking about?
You were complaining about something I did.
You were upset about Metroid before we hadn't even started talking really, and you were just like, "Oh, Metroid! Can I at least talk before you guys talk about Metroid?"
No, I said Michael talked about Metroid for 2 hours.
Oh, and you kept accusing Michael of being upset that he makes fun of JRPGs too.
He always makes fun of JRPGs.
So this is a good way to mention. So we're going to be chatting. We're going to go, I'm sure, in many directions, but primarily about video games. But I was wanting to kind of let Michael talk about a channel that he started. So he has his own booktube channel, but he started something else. And the three of us did a video together on that channel. I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah, so we have a video game channel called Press X to Revolution, and basically I've always wanted to be able to talk about video games and like have a video game community similar to like the booktube community. And I realized when everything went into quarantine that all of the video game journalists were doing everything from home like regular YouTubers, and I was like, hey, I could do that. So I hit up Alan and we talk about video games. There's a podcast that we do. It's actually a live show now weekly on Wednesday nights. And then we're starting to work on other plans to make other video game videos, talk about video game news.
We got to stream that stuff.
Yeah, excited.
If you want to see, there are videos of Michael and I discussing our top 10 favorite RPGs. I think it went over 4 videos, and we learned Michael's genesis, the genesis of Michael's hatred of Waluigi.
Oh yeah, that was part of that series.
It was that and Toad's version of Chandelier
by Sia. Yes.
From the chandelier.
It's pretty good impersonation.
I listened to it 200 times in my classroom after you showed it to me.
Always a very good teacher. The amount of times, Alan, that you'll send a Voxer message and I can tell that you have kids in your class?
Oh yeah, I don't care.
What are you doing? Can they hear us by chance? Or do you have...
No,
That's
they can just hear what I'm saying. And the problem is they're all having conversations, so it's not anything. But it's the second I start talking on Boxer, they get real quiet.
Of course.
There was
Well, because you're always ranting, so they probably want to be like, "What's Mr. Walker upset about?"
One thing I was talking about, the Shadow of the App series. I was sending a Boxer to people. I was reading that with me, and the people are like, they're insects. They're called, I mean, they're humans, but they have insectoid qualities for some of them. And so I'm like, I don't understand, like, why the roaches are the bards. Like, why do the roaches sing and entertain the travelers? Like, really? The roach? And the kids were just like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I would want to know for sure what you were talking about.
You're going to get sent to the principal's office because they're going to be very, very concerned about you.
I have not gotten sent to the principal's office already.
I feel like you also talk a lot of trash in our chats.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
So, have you ever had a student like know what you're talking about and then be like, "Hey," and then
I had a kid. So I teach them English words that come from our Latin words. I teach them derivatives. And I taught them the phrase ill-gotten gains, which they had never heard of the phrase ill-gotten gains. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? And I went on a 20-minute rant about how if you're going to commit a crime, commit a white-collar crime, because you're not going to get in trouble for it. And talk about ill-gotten gains, like 20 minutes. And so then a kid came up to me like the next week and was like, Mr. Walker, look. And he showed me, and that's what I give them bonus points. If in something they're reading, they show me words that we've talked about. I do the same thing. I'll say, they're so tired of me sending them pictures of like, look, because they don't believe I teach them real words. They're like, no one says that. I'm like, they do. Anyway, kid shows me ill-gotten gains, and it's in freaking guards. And I'm like, yes, guards.
Did they find your channel?
There are, yeah, the kids know I have a channel. There are a couple who like watch it like on the rag. But then I always get new kids and they're like, Mr. Walker, you have a YouTube channel? And I say, okay. And then I just move on because it's like, y'all can't read. So it's not for you.
Do they love your A Court of Thorns and Roses video?
No, what they love is the freaking GIF bot that I have.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like two of them were like, Mr. Walker, we put the Walker GIF bot in our server. And so they're just sitting there spitting out Walker gifts like in their own freaking servers. It's everywhere now.
You are the most gift person. I mean this. Like, I'm talking more than any celebrity I can think of. You are the most gift person.
I got to thank Evie. Evie, every time I put a video out, she combs through and is like, that's ridiculous. And then like gifts it.
If I typed in Taylor Swift right now, there would be more gifts of you that I've seen than Taylor Swift.
There would not be, because I've never mentioned Taylor Swift in my video, but now I will.
Well, I was just saying Taylor Swift doesn't even have that many.
Oh, I'll just be like, look, and Brian McClellan is the reason for the teardrops on my guitar.
You know that one gif of the guy that like kind of does a double take? Do you know that one where he like looks and then he blinks and looks?
Oh, the blinking guy, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the video of him? There's like the person behind the gif.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was in a video with a bunch of people. I think it was a video game thing.
I'm a huge fan of the website Giant Bomb, and he was a Giant Bomb employee. I watched that video happen years ago when it actually happened. I remembered the joke. And then when I saw everybody start using that GIF, I was like, why in the world is Drew Scanlon everywhere? He's just some random guy.
That's going to happen to you someday.
Oh, no.
One day, someone did send me a thing that says they were on a Facebook page of a restaurant in Astoria, New York, and someone unrelated to the book community had used a GIF of me saying, I hate hipsters in the comment section of this freaking restaurant in New York. No relation to the book community at all. They just wanted to do a hipster GIF. I'm
actually getting scared now because I'm afraid that something you've said is going to get taken out of context.
Probably.
Because you say a lot of things.
Yes, there's a GIF right now that says, I have a child army.
I feel like there's even worse ones than that, but they're not coming to my head.
That's not the worst
birthday perverts. You do not want those. That's true.
So,
I mean, it is what it is.
What video games have you guys been playing since this is supposed to be about video games?
I haven't played jack squat since, well, not this week at all, but I'm still playing Trails of Cold Steel.
Are you learning more about people's personal lives?
Yes. Yes. Finally, that couple, that guy that wanted to, or the guy that keeps turning this girl down who likes him. Like, I was like, why is he so mean to her? She just wants to spend time to him. I finally had a little side quest with them and figured out that she is a noble and he is a commoner, and they grew up together, and she was always really nice to him, but he doesn't like, I don't know, he feels embarrassed. And so I helped him overcome it. And I have not talked to them since. It's literally the last thing I did. So I hope that they will start a relationship now. And the other thing is, the woman whose husband always comes home every day and immediately demands dinner and doesn't know why dinner is on the table and yells at her, she left him. So she is, she left the house. And so he's in, no, she kicked him out. Because now he's at the bar and being like, I don't know what her problem is. I just wanted, and it's just like, these people's lives. I gotta know.
You know, it's funny because obviously Michael and I know the kinds of games you're interested in, but it would seem like you really like the drama-filled games. Like, Michael, what was that Beverly Hills Wives thing that you had?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was he knew the answer to the
trivia thing.
Desperate Housewives.
No, I do not. I like it when I get to go to dungeon and fight stuff, but I also like being in town.
So wait, that reminds me, the whole Skyrim thing. You guys saw, right? The whole.
Why are they releasing a new Skyrim?
Thank you. Okay, wait. Let me have you get your thoughts out first, and then I'll tell you my thoughts.
Okay. I don't like Elder Scrolls really to start with. And part of it is because I did not play Morrowind, but I played Oblivion because all of my friends were obsessed with Elder Scrolls. Like, dude, Elder Scrolls. So I played Oblivion. And it is open world. The problem is none of it's interesting. So it's an open world filled with a bunch of boring crap. There's nothing to do. There are the cool side quests, like the Dark Brotherhood's awesome. Like, there are some cool side quests, but I don't care about the main story. It's like I didn't have fun playing it at all. And then I played The Witcher 3 and I'm like, oh, this is
going to be fun.
Yes, where all of those extra tasks in this huge expansive world have a point. And so I don't love Elder Scrolls, so I didn't even play Skyrim. I'm like, why would I play Skyrim? I literally could just play The Witcher 3, which because The Witcher has a better story and better characters, and you have a main character. Because you don't create your own, you have a main character, which I think makes a more interesting narrative.
We're the same person when it comes to video games. We feel the same about
a lot of the same games, certainly more than Michael and his, like, well, if more than 3 people have played it, I don't like it.
What? I was about to literally make a populist argument about Skyrim.
Oh no.
Well, okay,
Skyrim's not an indie game, Michael. How could you possibly like it? Nor is it on the Nintendo.
So, I do. Okay,
on Oblivion or Skyrim.
Switch, I believe. Yeah.
Dude,
the Skyrim's on everything. Sorry, Al.
No, that's okay. We'll talk more about that in a second, but I just want to agree with. I understand why, like, the appeal of making your own character, and I think making characters is really fun. But then, what?
I like the cat people, the Khajiit.
But I don't want. I want more of a story. Yeah. This is why the Final Fantasy games have ruined us, Alan, or like those RPGs that have those intense stories. Because I want, when the main character is basically just a lens through which to see random side quests, I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. I got spoiled with some of them. So
I think the open world argument is that you can kind of make your own, like you can forge your own path, make your own tale, and that's fine, but that's not really what I'm looking for.
But I don't like that. I never played a ton of it, but at least in Dragon Age, the character is still. What? Wait.
Dragon Age is good. No, I'm
okay.
But like Dragon Age and Mass Effect, you make your own character, but it is the same character. Like, it just either has a different background. You're still the Grey Warden or the Inquisitor or Commander Shepard. Like, there is a main character. He or she can just look super different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes in Witcher, for example, I love when I just see all these question marks on the map and you go and you're like, what's over here? What's over here? I like that. So I get the appeal of something like Skyrim where there's just so much to do, but I want the option to have the story also, or to have, like, there are times when Geralt will say or do something that is really subtle but super funny, and it just makes the game that much better. And I just feel like you don't get that when it's just some.
The writing's so good. Again, my favorite joke in The Witcher is when he goes, "It was a griffin, arch griffin, in fact." And the guy's like, and the guard's like, "Well, here's your money. I'm grateful, arch grateful." And I laugh every time. It's so stupid. So, Michael, why are we wrong?
Michael, you look so sad.
The thing about Skyrim is it's not my favorite RPG. I played it and I think I enjoyed it more than you guys did. But the thing about Skyrim is it's one of those games that goes way beyond the gaming community. And like everyone played Skyrim. I know so many people that played Skyrim that don't care about games. And I am all for any game that can get non-gamers to game.
I don't like that.
So I think the appeal with Skyrim is I think the appeal for most people with Skyrim is actually the thing that you don't like about it, which is you like these super in-depth, either systems-based or super story-based things, whereas Skyrim is a giant world with rules that you can follow that you don't have to get that invested. Like it doesn't have to be as deep, so you can walk into a cave and deal with that cave individually or that city individually. And you can experience seeing new creatures, talking to people, stealing things, killing chickens, all of the things that you can do in Skyrim, but you can do it in an isolated experience that is easy to get into. It doesn't have the depth of something like a Dragon Age or a Witcher, but it's still, it's just so freaking expansive. Like the different biomes and everything you can go to. It's a beautiful game, like graphically, and I enjoyed a lot of those elements as well.
I really liked how you said stealing, like you were talking to one of your kids. You can steal.
Well, the thing is, like, I didn't want to be a bad character, so you quick save, you kill everybody in the town, then you reload and pretend you didn't.
Yeah, Sean. So I've mentioned before that there's certain games that I play and he watches, and some games he plays and I watch. And Skyrim is definitely a Sean game. Yeah. But the lock picking, oh my gosh, the amount of times he'd be like, oh, because it breaks.
Yeah.
And yeah, what was really funny to me is he was an assassin, I think, and he got his stealth up so high that he could just walk in front of enemies and they just couldn't. He wasn't even doing anything. He just walk in front of them and they couldn't see him. So he just go around, and it was pretty amusing. I know when we were in Ireland, we were in Blarney Castle, and it looks like a lot of the things in Skyrim. So I was like, hey, Sean. And like in the video, I have my hands out in front of me and I'm like doing this.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But anyway, so Skyrim though, so as far as the news goes about, they're basically, I'm confused because I guess they could just stick with it, I suppose. But part of me is like, make a new one.
Like, they are making a new. I'm guessing that I didn't hear this news, but I'm guessing that there's another HD upgrade.
So it's the 10th anniversary Elder Scroll, or 10th anniversary Skyrim. Hold on, keep going. I'll when I find it, I'll tell you.
I mean, the thing is that Skyrim was made for PC, and now that all of the new systems are essentially just PCs behind the hood, it really isn't that much work to upgrade them graphically and include, the best of the DLCs and stuff.
And yet, Sony refuses to do that with so many of its old games.
Like which one?
Like any freaking game from its PS2 era.
I mean, I'm generally on the side with you that I wish they would upgrade some of their games. The difference is that they are not as easy to upgrade. The PlayStation infrastructure is different than the PC infrastructure, which is probably what they're using for the basis of creating the new versions. Because the PlayStation and the Xbox Series X are just computers.
Okay, so the anniversary edition is Skyrim Special Edition, all 3 DLCs, next gen improvements, all 48 previously released Creation Club items. I guess those are the mods, the community mods. And then 26 new Creation Club items for the most definitive.
That was probably like 2 developers for like a month. They're just like, okay, I'm gonna make this version.
Well, and aren't they doing a concert too?
Yes, of the music of Skyrim.
I mean, that part actually sounded cool to me. I was like, I would go. That is great music.
Speaking of video game music,
yes,
I do not know. Well, first of all, one of two things has just happened. Like two things that are of incredible concern to me have occurred. Okay. One, the composer, what is this guy's name? The composer of the Persona games has left Atlas. So hold on, what's his name?
He has officially left Atlas.
Joji Meguro. And his music is so, I hate the word iconic. I hate it. I don't like the word iconic because students do, oh, that's so iconic. It's like, what? Like, what? How is that iconic?
It's the correct use of the word iconic. I mean, they make the games what they
correct.
are.
Like, Persona is almost defined by a certain musical style, a certain musical feel. He's done all 5 of them up to this point, and now he's gone. While Persona 6 is now, I don't know if he wrote any music for it before he left.
No, so here's the thing. He is technically not an employee of theirs, but he is still going to be contracting with them, is basically what he said.
Okay.
So honestly, my guess is, and he talked about this a little bit in an interview, he's going to be working on some like indie projects that he wants to work on.
That's what I'm seeing now.
My guess is he's probably still going to be working.
I will continue to work with Atlas on game music. So all of you concerned about the sudden announcement will feel relieved. I do.
Yeah.
The other thing is that freaking Nintendo just acquired some kind of exclusive thing with Atlas. And I think it's just to bring some of their titles to the Switch, which don't go to the Switch currently. Sorry, Xbox. It was Xbox. Maybe not Nintendo. Hold on. Because
I have not heard that news.
Atlas, the Switch has Shin Megami Tensei.
Which I believe the new one just came out.
Yeah, and I don't have a Switch, so I can't do it. Okay. Atlas games with Sega Xbox partnership. So, where is it? Okay. Xbox announced a new partnership with Sega on November 1st, with Sega developing large-scale global games based on Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. So they've acquired, it's Sega and Atlas. Yeah, Persona 6 is being developed by Sega and Atlas. So I was concerned that that meant that crap was only going to go to Xbox and off the PS5. It doesn't look like that's what that means, but I think it means that the Persona games are going to be going to the Xbox as well. I don't think it's making it to where they're not coming to the PC, but are not coming to the PS5, but are instead also going to the Xbox, which is actually a huge blow for Sony, considering like Persona is a system seller for more than just the hardcore weebs. Persona 5, I know people who are not weebs who play. I know people who are not weebs who play Persona. Michael,
rebuttal.
Michael, you know more people than weebs watch anime now, right?
Hold on a second.
People ask all the time, like, you're going to look at how many are sold, and you're going to compare it to Skyrim, and they're not the same.
I don't have to compare it to Skyrim. It sold 4.6 million copies.
That's a lot, Michael.
That is a crap load for a JRPG.
That's what I'm saying.
That is not a system mover necessarily. That's
is
very good. It's very good for JRPG.
I want to know how it compares to Horizon Zero Dawn.
How many?
Horizon Zero Dawn sold a lot, I think.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn is not a weeb game.
It's so good. I still want this.
10 million, double the amount of Persona 5, and that doesn't include PC sales, which probably were a lot as well.
What about Ghost?
Ghost is probably around the same as Persona. It's my guess.
I bet it's more. I don't know.
Slightly more, 6.5.
Ghost is
proving to be one of the most valuable IPs under Sony's first-party belt.
Last week when we were hanging out talking about video games, I told you guys while we were recording, but I really need to stress how much I was like, don't bring it up because you bring it up all the time. Don't bring up Ghost. And there were so many instances where I was like, this would be a great. Why is Alan not bringing it up?
I was about to flex on us about how good.
No, I'm not. You always do that. Michael, did I tell you about how I literally sent a picture of me flexing to Alan?
No, you did
So,
not.
okay, when you know how it's still really hard to get a PS5,
It's
right?
ridiculous.
It's still hard. And I was very fortunate to get mine. I wasn't like the first waves of people to get it, but I did get mine pretty early on before there was really any games to play on it. And Alex Nieves and Alan kept being like, "Oh, Alice just flexing," which is, well, never mind. I don't want to bring Alex.
She mentioned her PS5 in literally every conversation.
I did not. Okay.
You're like, so Sean and I were playing on our PS5.
No, that is not
everybody, look, Elle's got a PS5.
No, okay. So what? This is not true. So you know how Alan just now was like, "Oh, Elle's about to flex on us," which wasn't where I was going at all. But he will bring it up, and then he'll act like I brought it up. So I was excited, and I was like, "I got a PS5," and then Alan and Alex kept making fun of me, right? And they kept saying I was doing that, which I wasn't. But when I finally got it, because I was so tired of them being butts, I when I got the PS5, I was flexing with it, and I was like, there you go. Alan, what are you doing?
I'm Shinobi.
Oh,
I
remember that game.
Hold on.
Did you play that?
Yeah, like on the Sega. And then they tried to bring it back, and everyone was like, this game sucks. And
Did you ever play Onimusha?
Yeah, I played all three Onimusha.
Okay,
Onimusha.
The first one I thought was the best one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, we always have the same thoughts. The first one was so good. I remember
they got more actiony as they went on, I think, didn't they?
Well, the first one was really good, and I feel like, well, I don't know, maybe it was because I was younger and I was bad at video games or something, because I feel like when you're a kid, you're not good at video games. But I remember the last battle being really satisfying to get through. It was fun. It was a fun game. And then the second one, if I'm not mistaken, followed someone else. And then the third one, the guy from the first one shows up, and I'm like, how is he here? Yeah. And then it never, I don't think ever told you. It was just like, here he is.
Those Konami games, weren't those Konami? Didn't they do Onimusha?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Back when Konami made things that weren't pachinko machines. There we go.
It's coming back.
It looks like you have an elf ear.
I have so many questions. Namely, was that shirt just on your desk, or?
I was sitting on it.
Okay.
Why would you put a shirt on your face that you were sitting on?
That does demand another question, but I was just...
Well, because it wasn't like I had pants on. I wasn't sitting on it with my bare behind.
Still, Alan, that's still kind of strange.
How?
Namely, most people don't sit on their shirts.
This is my pajama shirt.
That doesn't answer the question, but we could move on. It's up to everybody else.
I don't like you sleep in it. Look, I am the knight. All right, I don't know what to tell you.
What pajamas are?
I don't think you do. You clearly don't.
What have you been playing since you beat Metroid, L?
Well, I was starting to play it on hard mode, and as we discussed last week, not enjoying it. When I started
my lesson on sparking or whatever it was, bright sparking. Shine sparking.
Yeah. YouTube recommends me so many Metroid videos now. I the other day started watching a video that was just it was like 10 minutes of Samus being awesome, and I was like, I'll watch this. And then I'm like, why am I watching this? I just beat this game. It's all of the scenes I've seen. So I stopped watching it, but I was like, she's pretty cool. There was one comment that I'm sure you'll appreciate, Michael, where there's that one enemy, the one boss fight that when you beat, it like falls into lava. Yeah. And she's like holding on with one arm, and she, goes to shoot it. And somebody commented something like, I like how Samus's first thought when she's hanging on by one arm and she's hanging over lava is, do I need to shoot this thing anymore?
Yeah, it's just like, do I have to shoot it one more time? Also, like the number of times that she grabs a creature and just shoots it in the mouth is just, it's a baller move.
Alan, why are you nodding?
No, I agree. I like Samus.
Like the number of times when she will get to the end of an enemy, it's falling down, she'll open its mouth, shove the gun in there, and shoot it again. You're like, hey, you got to make sure, right?
I'm nodding my approval. I approve of this plan.
Did you, I have to ask, did you ever, because I saw somebody say this, I think in a comment, and then Sean said he totally did this when he was younger, so I have to know. Did you ever put a paper towel, like a roll of paper towels on your arm and pretend you had a gun like Samus?
I have, if you'll look. Since being on BookTube, for my Arm of the Sphinx review, put a yoga mat on my arm and pretended it was an arm cannon. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Mine was Mega Man instead of Samus, but yeah.
Okay.
I have there's also a big tube that a bunch of, I forget what came in it, but it's like a big poster tube. I used to have one of those in my classroom that I would put on while the kids are taking tests and make cannon noises to distract them.
Do you ever put your shirt on over your face?
No, because I don't have an extra one. But if I did, I'm going to do this tomorrow.
You should just keep it in the chair at the school because it's your pajamas. It makes sense.
I wouldn't bring my pajamas to school, Michael.
My bad. I crossed the logic line somewhere. My bad.
Why would I have pajamas at school?
Exactly.
Alan, could you maybe take the shirt off your face?
We're talking about video games. I am currently Hanzo Hattori.
Did you guys enjoy the Prince of Persia games?
The original ones or like the Xbox PS2 ones? Oops.
The PS2. So I liked the PS2 Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Yeah,
that was really fun. The second one was.
Then it got emo like Jack 2, but not in a good way.
That's the only one I've played.
They played Godsmack music.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe I should pull it back out.
It was
Prince of Persia 2 is not good. Like I did like the first one, Sands of Time. I think they're rebooting that series because why not?
Yeah, I saw that.
They've been saying that for a very long time.
I keep seeing like at GameStop, you know how they'll have those like big boxes basically on the top of the shelves and they're like coming soon. And I saw a Prince of Persia one and I was like, when? But I loved Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. My motto was always when in doubt, look up, because usually there was something up that I was missing. Like you had to look up to figure out. Those puzzles were actually genuinely challenging. Like the mirror one was so frustrating. And then my cousin got a strategy guide just for the one where you have to go into different doors and you have to remember which door to go in, or otherwise it starts over.
I always use strategy guides, so I'm just
yeah, that game I didn't, because I felt like, because we've had this conversation before too, like especially with Final Fantasy games stuff, you don't want to miss that one item that's gonna, later. But I feel like with Prince of Persia, part of the fun was trying to figure out the puzzles.
I have X amount of time. I have a time window where I'm like, I'm gonna give it approximately this amount of time. If I do not figure it out within that window, looking it up. I'm not gonna spend 2 hours on a puzzle.
Yeah, I feel like with the internet now, I mean, I actually want to ask Alan, do you ever get strategy guides now with the internet?
They don't make them is the problem. If they make them, I buy them, but they don't make them because of the internet. So, and then even GameFAQs is dead. Like, I don't like Michael. You'll have more in insight on this than I do. GameFAQs is dead. Like, if it's a relatively new game, nothing on GameFAQs. Instead, I have to find these IGN walkthroughs, I guess, which is a bunch of videos and like little. And I'm just like, can you just show me a map and like tell me where the flipping items are? Like, what is happening?
GameFAQs is owned by GameSpot, and GameSpot fired all their writers because they could not keep them gainfully employed.
What? So, yeah, but GameFAQs, but the facts in GameFAQs are written by users, not.
There was a lot of walkthroughs that were still written by house people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and also I just think people have moved to YouTube. Like a lot of tutorials are just.
My favorite is Crystal 109. I have followed more Crystal 109 videos, or sorry, facts about RPGs than I know what to do with. Crystal 109 got me through my 20s and the freaking PS2 era, and like, oh my gosh! And then, so my buddy and I, Finn, were playing Dark Souls 3 over the summer, and we're like, there's no. Like, I try to play Bloodborne with like an actual like fact, and I'm like, it's too hard. I need a video. This just needs you to show me where it is. We busted out a Dark Souls 3 video walkthrough, and it's Crystal 109 walking us through the video. And she has great videos because I do not have to listen to her commentary the way, like for the Dark Souls 2 one, she didn't do one. So instead we have to listen to Fighting Cowboy, who's fine, but it's just like, I don't need to hear like, yeah, and this is what I'm going to do here. And then like, beep, 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 beep. Oh, beep. Like, it's just, I don't need the information. I just need the visuals.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree. I mean, sorry to jump on Metroid again, because Alan, I know you're like,
it's fine. It's the same.
But yeah, there was some that as soon as I heard a person talking, I was like, I just need to see it. for the shine sparks.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
those are not puzzles that are fun to figure out on your own because it doesn't give you enough information to know in game how to even do it. Then I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Is that those puzzles are bull crap. Those are not meant to be. I don't think those are good puzzles.
No, and so it's funny, Michael, because some of the puzzles were, I would see one person doing it one way, and I was like, I don't want to do it that way. Is there another way to do it? And I would find there would be people that would find, we talked before about how I always try to find the least amount of work. And there was one where you shouldn't have been able to do it, but those doors that you have to press. I always forget because it's the first game I've really played on a Switch. Is it A where she like zaps quickly? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so those doors where you have to do that to get through them, otherwise they shut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where there's one where you're supposed to do the, where you start sprinting and then you turn to a morph ball and then you blow up the little things and then you get through and then you have to zap and then you jump and then you use the I never know what the names are called, but like the burst, right, to go shoot through. And I was like, as soon as she turns into a morph ball, I feel like it's always challenging. Plus, there was those like slug enemies that would stop your momentum. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so someone I saw in a comment was like, I found somebody who managed, there's like honestly not enough space. But if you get it just perfect, there's enough space where you can start behind that door. And then you can just like turn around and go the other way. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then, so that's not interesting if you don't know what we're talking about. But that one, I feel like I cheated because I found the other way to do it. And then there's another one where I just, how you can later in the game turn into the ball and then like basically shatter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's one where I did that and then you run into another room so that you have enough space to get through. So that way, when you get to the spot that you would normally have to shoot, you could just like jump down it because if you time it right, you can. Anyway, so yeah, there were plenty that I'm like, I don't think this is the actual way to do it, but I don't want to do it the way you're actually supposed to do it.
If it's in the game, I consider it the actual way to do it.
Well, then I did it.
What are you playing?
What am I playing?
You didn't say what you were playing currently.
So with my family, we just picked up the Mario Party Superstars re-release.
Man,
Mario
I wish
Party.
You were playing that.
It's very, very good. It's like the best Mario Party that's come out in a while because they didn't do have you played the recent ones?
They're terrible.
They're not good. They changed the formula in a way that was
haven't really been good since 7 on the GameCube.
I mean,
and 7 came with the microphone.
Real. Mario Party is not a good game.
Michael, no. Now, Michael. Mario Party is an incredible game. Mario Party, I would argue Mario Party is one of the best party games out there.
But I can agree by some metrics and not by other metrics.
Michael, every year, my friends and I would buy the new Mario Party and play a 50-round game of Mario Party. Every year, Michael.
Well,
just because you do something doesn't make it okay or good idea.
Yes,
Michael, keep your pajamas on your computer chair.
First of all, I'm the arbiter of truth. First of all, second of all, or that's first of all. Second of all, how is it not a good game?
Because it is entirely based on the pre-generated code of the game, and everything that you do in the game is meaningless because it's predetermined.
Incorrect.
It's like fatalism the game.
There are many games that are
the mini games have nothing to do with the determiner of who's going to win.
Untrue.
It's one bonus star.
There are some things that can because mini games they give you freaking coins.
I feel like there's a Jason Schreier article. It might have even been Kotaku, and I know you're a Kotaku fan, that talked about the behind the scenes of that game, where every dice roll and every single thing that's done at the beginning of that game is determined by the seed of the game, and nothing you do actually matters for the outcome.
Incorrect.
It's fatalism the game.
No, because you have options to use items. Mini games give you coins, which you then use to purchase other items.
If you turn off the bonus stars,
who turns off bonus stars?
Then you are kind of closer to having a choice in life. But in reality, it's all just predetermined.
Alan, I want to interject for just a second in saying last week you were making fun of Michael because you were like, they've turned me off of Nintendo because all he ever does is talk about Mario games.
That's
And
true.
so, well, but I feel like now you're sticking up for it.
For Mario Party, yes.
Oh my word!
I've
had a lot of fun with Mario Party.
And they took him away from me to add
Mario-
a Switch, and then I had to play Wario.
You know what
Mario
game-
Party is a fun dumpster fire.
It is so fun to see how far you can tax your friendship while playing Mario Party, while then coming out being like, you are forged in fire, like medieval.
It sounds like you're admitting there's a lot of bullcrap in that game.
There is a lot of bullcrap, but it's not entirely bullcrap. That's my point. My point is you have to have enough skill and play a smart enough game to where, one, you don't get too far ahead, so everyone starts buying the crap to steal your stars. You want to stay in second for a long time if you're playing a 50-round game. Second, you want to do everything you can to like stay kind of behind, but do what you're getting to grab those bonus stars. So at the end, you're not ahead, so no one's trying to gang up on you. And then the bonus stars push you over. There's a strat. Michael. I love Mario Party. Until
Mario,
I have a very, very like specific question that has to do with a board game. I forget. Have you guys played Dominion before?
No, I played Dominion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once.
You know, have you played with the castle cards?
No, I only have Seaside and Prosperity.
Okay, because there's this one expansion where you get castles, and the various different castles. I mean, there's other cards that do similar things where it's like for however many like coppers you have, you get this many extra, whatever. And so I feel like it's similar. You kind of have to. Maybe it doesn't seem like you're winning the whole.
Well, it's like the main game. It's like the main game where you start grabbing those gardens that they're worth extra points based on how many for every like 4 green cards you have. Yeah.
So, okay, not party games, but are there games that you think are really fun to kind of switch off with somebody? Because there's not very many, games that are actually multiplayer without online nowadays, like there used to be. So aside from an obvious, like, fighter type of game, are there games that you think are fun to take turns with?
And also, Michael.
Why would I ask a question?
No, but he didn't answer. He didn't answer the previous question. I want to know why the new Mario Party game meets more to his approval, in addition to the answer to your question.
Because instead of everybody traveling on the same boat together, like multiple of the modes.
You haven't done that. Games. Like that's been the last like 3, but you didn't do that in one.
Everybody separately. You're all rolling your own dice. It's very dumbed down. Like things are faster. Like interactions with there's less just text boxes to scroll through. And it's a bunch of the basic boards it's based on revitalizing the boards from Mario Parties 1 through 3.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of fun mini games. The mini games are generally good. They're not microphone based.
The ones that were motion control were trash. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and you can use a regular controller, which is like the biggest benefit.
Right. Michael and I agree on that. I don't know the answer to Elle's question though. I'm thinking.
So the Dark Pictures anthology games, which are made by the people that made Until Dawn, they actually have a local multiplayer mode, which is based around every single person controls one of the different POV characters, and you're supposed to hand your controller off as it switches POVs.
Well,
that's very good. Very fun.
That sounds cool.
As far as like, there's local co-op games still that exist. Like Overcooked is a great game to play with people.
Overcooked is fun.
I don't know what that one is. What is that one?
It's like a crazy cartoony, but you are working a kitchen and you're trying to prepare food for people within a time limit, and each person has to do tasks, but there's usually at least one more task than there is people.
Okay.
So you're crossing back and forth between the kitchen, yelling at people to cook the meat while you're chopping the vegetables.
Yeah. Christina says, "Don't shout at me." I'm like, I'm not. It's just the time limit. Like the anxiety of the time limit raises my volume. I'm not trying to be like, do it. I'm just like, we need food. Patties, hurry. Like,
okay, so I'm that person too, where I think I've told you guys before, but I play, obviously it's online, but playing Ghost with Sean and a couple of his work friends who obviously know me through Sean, so they're like his friends, but I'm like kind of friends with them, right? But one of them I had never met before. We had just played video games together, and I would yell, and then I would tell Sean, like, please make sure your friends know that I'm a nice person. But So that sounds hilarious. I have not played it, but I have to ask if you've played the farming simulator games.
Okay.
I've watched other
guys,
people play them.
Guys, story. Okay. Back when I was a douchebag, I had my friends. This was like, maybe 2011, 2012. I don't know. Anyway,
A decade ago when Alan was a D-bag.
Look, I was not a nice person for a while. I don't really know. Anyway, I had my friends over and we were like, let's go online and like let's go find someone to troll on the PS Online or whatever.
I remember this story.
Yeah, we saw some guy playing farming simulator, like, yes, let's go make fun of this guy, this game. And so we started asking questions, just trying to kind of troll him, but actually
Justin TV or whatever.
Yeah, we were acting like we were serious. We're like, so what do you do in this game? And this guy was like, oh man, you can do all sorts of stuff here. Like, let me show you. I'll show you my fields. I get to plant. And I'm like, can you plant tobacco? He's like, well, no, you can't plant tobacco in this game. But he everything we said, he took as sincere. And he was the most genuinely nice person. Didn't know we were trying to troll him. We ended up
Did he turn you?
we ended up staying there for like 2 hours watching him play. And we felt so bad that we had originally gone in there to make fun of him. By the end, we were like, dude, what else can you do? Like, what are you going to do next? Like,
was that the end of your D-bag days? That's when you turned.
It's not that I was like a huge douchebag. I just didn't really care all that much about other people. And I was mean because rather than have people be mean to me, I was just mean to them first.
So, not obviously, we could unfold and dive into, your
about his mom.
But I actually kind of want to know more about Farming Simulator. So how, like,
is it cool?
Is fun?
You literally, like, you run a farm and that's it. Like, everything that would go into a farm, you have to fix the tractor when it breaks. You have to plow the.
Is it kind of like The Sims but for farming?
Yes, but it's just
so hands-on though.
Yeah,
like
it's
you gotta do it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are a farmer running by yourself, running your farm.
I have to say, I have to giggle a little because my dad worked on farms growing up, and I'm sure if he heard hands-on in relation to a farming video game, he would be like,
it's like instant trigger. Oh sure.
Yeah, you kids don't know anything. That's what he would have said.
It's so interesting watching people play. Like, those people take it seriously.
Because every time we go to GameStop, Sean's always like, so when are we gonna get Farming Simulator? And now I kind of want to get it. But I think a great game to switch off with, and by great I mean because it's really fun and it's like edge of your seat, is the first, because I know, Alan, you agree with me on this one because the next two weren't as good. The first of the newer Tomb Raiders was fun. And it's like great to switch off. That game was fun. The next two, I'm bummed that they weren't as good, but that game's really fun to switch off on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Have you played that I'm just going to call it Vampire, but it's spelled with a Y.
Vampire?
Yeah.
The vampire game?
That's on my wish list. I have not played.
I don't play games with vampires. Generally.
Okay, here's the deal. We played a little bit of it, and I was like, not really that into it, but you do get to go around and talk to people and find out like what's going on. And I think you can. We only played a little bit of it, but I'm pretty sure you can. There's like a whole web of different people and what you know about, so you can basically go around and gossip.
It was the game after the Life is Strange developers made Life is Strange, and so that made me interested. So I've looked up that game a lot, and it looks really cool.
Okay, this is a different game than what I was thinking of.
What were you thinking of?
There's I think I was thinking of Blood Rain, RAYNE, from the PS2 era, where
Vampire is like it looks similar to the Life is Strange thing, but it's like Victorian, and you gotta like talk to different people, and
it seemed cool, but I didn't really like it very much.
Yeah,
maybe we just didn't give it enough of a shot. I don't know. It was hard. Excuse me, it was kind of hard too, I thought.
I like games like Life is Strange and like Heavy Rain, Jason, and the games that are just.
Did you play
where it's interactive story really?
Did you play Beyond Two Souls?
I haven't, and I started it. I actually don't love the trend in video games where they're like, look how good our graphics are, and it's just like an actor. I don't like the thing where they just put the actor's likeness in a game. I don't mind if they voice it, but I don't want to play Beyond Two Souls starring Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind you use their voices. It's just weird for me. Like press X to pay respects with Kevin Spacey in the Call of Duty game. You know what I mean?
In Ghost, I think they modeled the Jin from the voice actor.
Yes. I don't know that voice actor, so it is less weird for me.
I think what's cool is that it wasn't an already famous face.
Yeah, and that's fine. But like when it's like the super like it's like, what are you doing?
I have to ask, have you seen, well, I'm sure you guys have watched Clueless Gamer before with Conan, right? Have you watched
that? Love Clueless Gamer with Conan.
Did you see Kumail Nanjiani where he got to do a voice in a video game? And have you seen that one?
I don't know.
It's because you know his voice, right? He's got a very distinct, kind of like higher pitched voice.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh shoot. He's in the new Eternals. He's like
I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, he's coming in. He was in that movie, Something Sick. It was actually really good about his wife. Anyway, he has a very distinct voice, and he didn't change it at all for this game. Guy. Oh, it's blurry. Hold on. Yes.
Oh, that's the guy that got super jacked.
Yeah. Yes, he did. But he, man, I'm gonna have to find it. You have to watch it because his voice is very distinct. And he doesn't, and it's like a typical, you know, like I don't even remember the game, something like Skyrim, right? And which, anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. But Conan is kind of freaking out at the fact that it's just him, and he's supposed in like his actual, they didn't model the face or anything. He's some kind of creature. That is his voice. It's not funny, man. This is one of those like cool story bro moments, you know?
No, it's kind of freaking out because the guy, he didn't alter his voice at all. He just like spoke normally. I think I have seen that one.
It's very good. Clueless Gamer is great. I love it. Oh, I didn't finish talking about Prince of Persia before. I feel like I need to mention that I agree that the second one was too emo. And then the third one was too easy. I was frustrated.
The third one. Oh my gosh, yes.
Because they started having those things that you could bounce off the walls. So I'm like,
did you just play the second one, Michael?
I played the one that I think was just called Prince of Persia, and it was a graphical like redesign to look. It looked very different than the rest of them.
That is the remake.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about. Isn't it like a very stylized one?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I ever played that one.
No, I didn't either. That's the I think the reboot. When did that? 2008. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that is different than the one we were talking about.
Anyway, that was all. I just really wanted to not forget to say that the Sands of Time, not the very first one, because they had those really, really old ones, but Sands of Time was super fun. And then I know that most people hate the movie that they came out with Jake Gyllenhaal, but I kind of Kingsley. I know. I kind of like that movie.
I think that movie's completely fine. I had fun watching it. I saw it twice in the theater, and I'm proud of it.
I mean, aside from the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal is, you know.
I mean, it is what it is. Mistakes have been made. You have to move on sometimes and enjoy.
I laugh. Okay, I know I talk about this show probably too much on a BookTube channel because it's not a book, it's a show. But What We Do in the Shadows, the actor Kayvon Novak, I love him. And he had this post, I wonder if I can find it, where he was like, can I be, oh man, shoot, I don't know if I'm going to find it. But he's actually, like his family, I think, is from Iran. And so he had a thing with like him and a side-by-side of him and Jake Gyllenhaal. Man, I need more people to watch that show because it's great. And I'm sad because Thursday nights are normally when the new episodes are out, but the third season's done. So now I have to wait.
Do you guys want to play a game?
Yes.
This one's called
games again?
What?
Are we gonna guess games again?
Yeah, this one is you have to guess. Okay, we can play it two ways. I have rules for either one.
Okay.
Either you guess I'll make up a number, and you have to guess if the actual Metacritic for the game I'm talking about is over or under the number I give, or you have to guess within 5 points.
Let's guess within 5 points.
Okay, we'll do guess
that
within
way.
5 points.
That way, Ella and I can have wildly different answers.
Okay,
Well,
so
what's the?
So Metacritic is a website that is a combined score of a bunch of people that have been labeled as critics. So it's similar to like Goodreads if you're talking about books, but users cannot input. It's
Can
only
I ask you a question,
publications.
Michael?
Yes.
Before we start this,
Yeah.
how do you feel like Metacritic is a net positive for video games, or not?
I believe most things that exist are net neutral, and how they are used is what makes them positive or negative. I believe some studios. I believe that studios that use them as a basis for like bonuses and crap. That's silly.
EA uses, like, they get in trouble if their freaking game doesn't hit whatever on Metacritic. I don't know if any other studios that do that, but I know EA does it, and it ticks me off.
The thing about Metacritic is there's a lot of factors that go into it. Not everybody reviews every game, and everybody has different scales that mean different things. Like GameSpot doesn't ever use the below 5 scale, so there's no reason to count that stuff. So I don't think companies should do that. I think that's a dumb practice. I love Metacritic as a general idea, especially because I follow a lot of different video game publications, and so I enjoy like seeing those numbers and knowing.
Isn't it closer to like the Rotten Tomatoes critic score?
Yeah,
and Goodreads.
Yeah. And there is no version of the audience score, but yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
What's it out of?
It's out of 100.
Out of 100.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. And they just generalize answers. So I've got a list of games, and I am going to say the game, and you have to guess within 5 points.
What I would give it, or what it got.
What the actual Metacritic was within 5 points.
Because I'm going to give like Tony Hawk like 13.
I picked games that I feel like were mostly either relevant to everybody or relevant to you guys. So
I played Tony Hawk.
I love Tony Hawk.
Michael and we argued about Tony Hawk before.
I think I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. I was pretty good at it.
I was working when
Ella's closer to my age, so she may know what's cool more than you. I'm sorry, Alan.
Michael, you know that I teach Latin, right? I am the
coolest
authority on what is cool.
The first game on the list is Final Fantasy VII Remake. What's the Metacritic?
Oh,
it's freaking 90.
I was gonna say I feel like it's gonna be really high because I feel
ludicrously so. Because only Game Informer said anything bad about it in any of the reviews. Thank you, Game Informer.
So you're saying exactly 90, Alan?
90 gives me 5 either way, 85 or 85 to 95. If it's higher than that, it's ludicrous.
Is this like The Price is Right, where if we're over, then
no? He said within 5 points.
Okay.
I mean, technically, I guess you win if you're closer.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 88.
Okay, so you've got 83 to 93. Okay.
Locked in.
Yeah, we're locked in.
The correct answer is 88, so she got it completely.
Wow, real? I mean, that pleases me. I'm glad that it's 88 and not 90.
To get above a 90 Metacritic is pretty rare because of the number of publications that usually weigh in. So
did Metal Gear 5 get above a 90? I know there are some games that did.
I mean, lots of games have, like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check because I have a lot of thoughts about that
game.
Yeah, 93.
Thank you. I just feel like when you look up games to see like, oh, what do people think of this one? I feel like I always see it's 88 or 89. So.
Yep. Next game, Final Fantasy X.
Why? I don't want. They better have given it.
I pulled the original release. This is not a re-release because.
By the way, Michael,
I've gotten lower.
By the way, Michael, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 has a 98 on Metacritic.
I'm very aware.
Okay.
Get off that page. I've got other questions.
Sorry, I was trying to look up things that are above 90. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna say 93 for Final Fantasy X.
There's no way that was when the JRPG was the publications were trying to turn against the JRPG.
Yeah, but it was like the first.
I agree with you that it's excellent, but I don't think people liked it as much. I'm gonna say, what did you say, Elle?
I said 93.
Oh, there's no way it's in the 90s.
It has to be higher than the 7 remake, though, right?
People love 7 way more than 10.
Time.
They love 7.
I pulled the original release from its time. Yeah.
74. I don't agree with it. I just think it was lower.
I'm
People
going to use this as proof that Alan just doesn't know popular sentiments about things, because the answer is 92. It was a 92.
Yes. I'm really proud of myself. That was
Yeah, you're killing it so far.
Man.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say, Alan.
I don't know what's popular.
So this is from I remember going from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. Final Fantasy X being the first one I played on PlayStation 2 and being blown away, thinking, where have games like this been my whole life? And that game has stuck with me my entire life. And it was the first, I know we know this, but like it's the first Final Fantasy with voice acting. It was amazing cutscene graphics. And I mean, it was turn-based, but I feel like it was fun. The sphere.
You're talking to the wrong person. I love turn-based.
Post 10 is when the critics started getting more tired of the Final Fantasy series.
Well, and I feel like that's when I also started. That's when a lot of us
seem to be common. Yeah,
12 is the last. I would say that's like.
I like 12. I like the story of 12.
I'd never played one, and I got hyped for 13 just because I knew how much everyone loved Final Fantasy, and then I played 13.
13's not fun because
and I was like, "This is
your party.
Not a very great game."
No, 12. So 12 is fun, but I do feel like they could have given us a little bit more with the story.
I agree. 13 too. I agree. It should have been like it should have been longer. I love Sid. Sid, the antagonist. He's so much better than the final boss. Like I love the mad professor villain.
Well, and then there's the twist as to who he actually is in relation to.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I love Sid in that. And then 13 2 is more fun than 13.
12 has like the only character, Alan, that you and I agree is suave and an action.
Balthier?
Balthier is the best.
I agree. I love Balthier. He's your leading man. I love Balthier.
He's so good. I love him. Anyway, Michael, do you have some more for us?
Yeah, I've got
just like
a total of 10
questions where I also don't know what books are popular.
Number 3, the original Tomb Raider.
Who freaking cares?
I liked the original one. I got all the way to.
Yeah, I brought this up because Elle mentioned Tomb Raider to me in a Voxer recently.
So
I didn't play Tomb Raider until the remakes.
The reason Michael and I were talking about Tomb Raider is we were talking about how some old games, the graphics were so bad that you couldn't tell what was a switch on the wall or what was just like a marking on the wall.
The original Final Fantasy.
When the controls for the original Tomb Raider they're awful today.
I mean, I have so many good memories of the first Tomb Raider though, but I mean, games then weren't that amazing yet when it came to gameplay.
I'm gonna say because it spawned such a ridiculous amount of sequels, I'm gonna say that the first one was wildly popular. So I'm gonna say 90.
Michael, is this when it first came out?
Yes, like the original release.
90.
I'm gonna say 94.
So one thing I will say is these are Metacritic scores, so they, unlike what I said in my dumb video, they are not directly correlated to popularity. But
what is it?
The answer is 91. So Alan,
I got one. Yay!
That's still pretty high.
It's pretty high. It's strange
high.
Because if you actually do go back and try to play that one now, it does not feel good.
It's because when the first Tomb Raider came out, there's like 4 video game reviewers. Like there's 4 critics deciding it all, and they're all like video games. That's why now there's like 18 million.
You are slightly exaggerating the numbers, but the point is correct.
Yes. That's why all these old games have such high scores.
Well, because those are like huge. Those are huge. Like,
well, games were not very. They were. I feel like it was hard to have a game with really great. Like the feel of it was great.
There are a lot of awful games that came out at the same time. We just don't remember them because they were awful.
Did you guys ever play the game? It was called RLH. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what it stands for?
No.
It stood for Run Like Hell. It was just like you never played that.
No.
I rented it from Hollywood Video because our Hollywood Video store had a game store attached, and I rented it.
I played the PS2 games called Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and those were not like that. Those were really fun. and the
I
voice
remember
acting was great. And Tony J played the Elder One, and
I
he's
don't
Frodo.
think those games hold
Did you
up.
ever play Legend of Dragoon?
Legend of Dragoon is what people clamor for when Sony's like, what first-party title should we remaster? People like Legend of Dragoon. Freaking
Did you
Legend
talk
of Dragoon.
about Legends of Dragoon on the Press X podcast last week?
Yes.
Okay, because a bunch of people commented about it, and I don't remember that coming up. Is that game a
It is
like
it
a
is
rail
like,
shooter?
No, it is like Sony's first foray into making their maybe only making their own first-party JRPG.
It was kind of like a Final Fantasy.
It was Final Fantasy, but with freaking real time. Like you had to press buttons as you're using your ability. Like a square would swirl in, and you want to press it right when it hits the middle to continue your combo. It's a JRPG. Like it's.
I think I've talked to. Well, I don't remember us talking. I don't remember if we've talked about it or not. But I remember I bought a copy, and it had I think 4 discs.
Yeah,
and I think I got to the 3rd disc, and then it didn't work, and then I had to return it and try to buy another copy, and then that one also didn't work on that disc, so I never got to finish it.
Dragoon was excellent.
This is like very similar to Final Fantasy VII, where there's just like a painted picture that the little barely polygoned people walk around on.
Seriously. And there's actually a really big twist at the end of disc 1 that I was like, what? And my friends would spoil for other people. I'm like, why are y'all doing that? Like, that's so cool. It was good. I like Dragoon a lot.
Michael, what's the next one?
What do you think Metroid Dread got on the Metacritic scale?
Now?
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, that's the only one, but I'm surprised.
96.
It's only changed 1 point since release day.
96.
I'm going to say 94 again.
So
Now, that's
modern
what we're gonna
games
work with.
typically don't do as well. 88 is the answer. So I don't think either of you got it.
No, we
Closer, but yeah, I'm one
didn't.
off
Closer.
from getting it.
What? This doesn't make any sense. All I hear is people say, I love Metroid Dread. Like, how is it not have...
So you haven't got a chance to listen to Andrew talk about how he does not like Metroid Dread.
Dang,
What
Well,
did you like about it?
He says he does like it, but then he mostly just talks negatively about it.
He doesn't like it because it doesn't have any like traffic
getting
or
lost.
parking lot mechanics. What?
Yeah, he keeps getting lost. Like he's played for 8 hours, he said, and he's only 4 Emmys in. And I'm like, dude, what?
Well, to be fair, I ended up playing for a really long time. Like
You were collecting stuff, and
I mean, 100%ed it. But
yeah, he is not. He's just lost.
I feel like once you kind of get it, I will say for a while I didn't even look at the map, so I would get lost. But then I'm like, wait, okay,
I feel like I'm the only person who was like super into the map. I was like, oh, this is super useful, and I just
I
used
just
it the whole time.
It sounds silly, but I just didn't, because I think Sean started playing it first, and I would like kind of watch and tried, and then eventually I was mostly playing it, and Sean was like, okay, fine, you're playing this game apparently. But I just didn't even realize the map. I know it's a silly thing to say, but I just didn't even think to look because I wasn't really paying that much attention when we first got it. It was kind of like
I would have zero ability to navigate that game if I didn't learn the map. I'm so bad at recognizing levels.
So 88, man, what do people say negatively about it?
There's a lot of people that don't like I mean, it's in every Metroid game, but because this game got a lot of extra people to play it because there's so many games that have been delayed lately, and since a lot of people own the Switch, it's a very high. Like a lot of households have one. A lot of people picked up Metroid that wouldn't have picked up other games. So things that were not it's my first Metroid too.
Yeah,
so it's one, it's hard. 2, there's a lot of places where you have to shoot walls, and like if you don't shoot those walls, you think you're at a dead end. And a lot of people hate that mechanic, including like this game was famously criticized by David Jaffe for having bad game design, who was the creator of Drawn to Death or whatever that freaking stupid game was, and also Gears of War, or not Gears of War, God of War.
God of War is excellent.
I feel like the first God of War, tell me if you agree, it felt a little bit like it was trying to be the next Prince of Persia.
I think I thought it was trying to be the next Devil May Cry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with
I think it probably
look at these action combo things, then you suck up souls to increase your abilities. But then it had the puzzle stuff of like.
I feel like the movement and the look of it reminded me of Prince of Persia.
I thought they were separated by a large enough gap. I don't know. Everything blurs together. I'm too old.
What's the next one, Michael?
Ghost of Tsushima. What do you think the Metacritic is for that one?
It better be high. I mean, that game is
86.
92.
I hope so, but
83.
uh,
That game's
I
not
no
doing as
longer
well.
trust any game reviewers. They're all
So-
full of it.
If
they-
you read most of the reviews for Ghost of Tsushima,
they say
the
it's boring and repetitive.
general, they're gonna say it's open world game that's super repetitive. Yeah.
Boring, repetitive, yeah.
Which, yeah.
While acknowledging how gorgeous it is, and so filled with verisimilitude that the Japanese companies were like, why did Americans make this game? Like, what? We had all this time and we didn't make this game. Like, what is wrong with us?
That
So-
game is beautiful.
I agree. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is probably the most beautiful game I've ever played. It's
I
beautiful.
can't think of a
gorgeous.
game that looks prettier than that. I can't.
And I know it gets okay. Here's what bothers me. Yes, it gets kind of repetitive, but you get enough in your, enough different things you can do that it's repetitive if you are repetitive. Like you can do different things. You know what I'm saying? Like you can use your knives, you can announce your presence, you can assassinate, you can.
I don't really understand it because every game like that is repetitive. Like you go to the next place and you.
I
kill
tend to
one.
criticize every one of them, like Assassin's Creed, for those reasons.
Assassin's
Assassin's Creed is way too repetitive. Like at least I feel like Ghost progresses to where you can do different things and the enemies get more difficult. You have to get better with the game, kind
I
of.
still don't have my Unity plat.
By the way, I was answering comments on the Press X channel, and I told Pete that basically he's supposed to sue you because you said something about not playing it with him, and now you have to play it with him whenever he wants to. So
Ghost.
He didn't want to play it anymore. I was like,
Well,
hey, do
now
you
he
want me to
does.
revive you now so I can get you the trophy? He's like, no, I don't care. I'm like, okay.
I also want to add that Ghost has some of the best music. Like they actually incorporated Mongolian throat singing. Yeah, which also, Alan, you like the show Frasier when
I love Frasier.
they really want to go see the Mongolian throat singers. Anyway,
I love Frasier.
Anyway, so like the music is breathtaking. Oh my gosh, the music is amazing. The story is amazing. The voice acting is. There was something else I wanted to point out. Oh, it feels good to play. It's like literally just even getting on your horse, especially going from Witcher to that, where Roach is like you call Roach.
Leave Roach alone. I love riding on Roach.
I know, but I'm just saying, whatever you named your horse, Kage or Kaze, there's like different names you can give the horse. Whatever you named it,
Sora.
it's like he gets on the horse so easy, and like you can shoot things from the horse, and it feels really. It's just
Michael would have picked Sora.
Because
I
it's
mean,
really
I do like the idea of naming a horse Sora because of
would've
my
named mine
love-hate
Waluigi.
relationship with Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, I don't know if you'll want to name the horse Sora.
You definitely want to name the horse Sora. No, you don't. I hate Kaze. Kage?
Well, I think there's
Shadow. There's two horses, yes.
there's
What do you think Fortnite scored? I'm surprised this game even got reviews. So I'm guessing this was at release, which means it was very different than what it is now. But Fortnite does have a Metacritic score from 2017.
I don't know. I don't play Fortnite. I don't know what people think of it. I'm gonna say.
I mean, it's one of the most popular games in the entire
I know
world.
it's what I
Still?
know that.
Yes,
Still?
yeah, it is.
I'm gonna
Well,
say.
Minecraft
Oh man, I don't know.
Minecraft also is, but
Well, if they gave Ghost a lower score for being repetitive, I feel like
No,
I don't know, 76.
It's gonna be stupid. I'm gonna say 90.
Elle gets it. It's 81.
Thank
so she
goodness.
barely gets it. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Good job.
I'm just glad that it's higher than Ghost.
The thing about games like Fortnite
Or
or
lower,
Apex
I think.
Legends is they tend to have massive audiences that love those games, but critics don't tend to be in those markets. So they tend to be like, well, this is fun. I understand the concept. It's fine.
I want to know now, what has a high score now? Like a modern game that has a really high score.
So because of the way that we have diversified criticism and expanded criticism, it is a lot rarer to see games get above a 90.
The highest game of all time on Metacritic is 99, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, which was one of the questions I had.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I would have guessed.
Never played that. So
I
wouldn't-
I
That
can
game
say with
that game
most
had
people,
100 until recently. That
Really?
game had a perfect 100 score.
Who brought it down? Good for that person. Who's like,
it was a modern critic, because modern critics like to just have hot takes.
crap ones.
And
So
of course, if you play it now, it's not the same.
the highest modern game are the Super Mario Galaxy games at 97. Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA.
Before you get
5.
too far on that list,
Yeah.
I'll ask you one of the questions I had.
Okay.
What is the highest PlayStation game?
Oh, because
So, yeah,
GTA 5's on PlayStation.
Exclusive. Well, PlayStation only game. PlayStation family only game.
The most recent
on
God of War would be my guess.
Not true.
Uncharted 4. One of those two.
Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2
I
is the highest
always
rated.
hear about how much people love Uncharted 2. It's my least favorite of the four. I don't like Uncharted 2.
It's because you're basing it. So for one, when you look back on them, it's very different. When you play Uncharted 1,
I played them all three. I played them the first three at the same time. I had
so that's probably the difference. Is when you play the original one, it's like, this is a really cool concept that's kind of really rough around the edges. And then when you played Uncharted 2, you were like, holy crap, they accomplished what they wanted to.
I didn't like it. Well, part of it is I don't like winter settings. Like I just do not like winter settings, just really ever. And so that's, it's completely.
It's good that you live in Florida.
Yeah, I know. It's completely set in, I think, Nepal, and so it's snow everywhere. That's why I don't like the last third of Ghosts, because the gorgeousness of the middle, of the beginning and the middle, as you move north, it's just like, oh, everything's white.
Sorry, I know I just jumped in because I left for a second. What was the question?
It was the Uncharted is the highest PlayStation only Metacritic game ever.
Okay. How did that
Uncharted 2? Sorry.
Hold on. The most recent game, Michael, to hit above 90 is Disco Elysium Final Cut, which came out March of this year.
The Final Cut did.
Yeah,
that game came out last year.
I've been told how did the question lead into the ice stuff? I know Alan hates.
He was saying that Uncharted 2 has the highest, and it's my least favorite, and it takes place in the winter.
Gotcha.
It takes place in a cold area, which I mean,
I feel like you always go to cold areas. Because you talked about in Ghost, I feel like you always go into cold areas toward the end of games.
Yeah, and I always dislike them. In Ghost specifically, I don't like it because the southern part of the island and the middle part of the island are gorgeous. I love the scenery, and then it's just snow, and I'm like,
I still think the scenery is beautiful in the icy parts too. But that's because I like the winter wonderland, like everything.
Like all your pictures from like Iceland, I'm like, it does look nice, but pass. Like
it's not even that much snow when I went.
You can go ahead and give me 90% humidity, 90 degrees Rome in the summer, pouring sweat, hoping you can find the next fountain.
You just need to go to Iceland in the summer and you'll be fine. It's much greener and there's a lot less.
Yes, but even in the summer in those cold places, you can feel the cold just lurking behind the temperature, waiting to pounce. There's a feel that cold places have, even when they're not cold. Like
I know, I love it.
I love the cold. I don't like it at all.
We've talked
about running right now. It's 79 degrees in my house right now.
That's
oh my
god! You're such an old person, Alex.
Wow,
no, I'm cold.
Wow, dude.
We've had this conversation.
I have always been cold. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm freezing.
Michael, Alan, his thing is that when it's cold, he says your bones don't break, they shatter.
Yes, I'm quoting Cool Runnings, where I learned most of my life lessons.
Dude, my thermostat is set at 65 and I was getting hot.
So, okay, this is all dependent on where we live and how cold or hot it is outside, right? So
and how much insulation I personally have on my body.
65 in your house?
That sounds amazing. That sounds great. I live in Arizona. It gets to like 115 degrees in the summer, and I still am like, I don't care how expensive the bill is going to be. I will cut back on food if I have to because I want it to be cool in my house. I live in a mobile home and it is not great as far as like one of our windows, technically it goes to a screened-in room, so at least it doesn't go straight outside, but like the windows kind of like popped out stuff. So, the heat comes in very easily. It's not well insulated, sadly.
We have bad.
Anyway,
also.
back to the questions. How many more are there? And Alan, you got 2?
I've got like 2. You've got all the other ones.
Yeah.
One of them neither of us got.
We got 2 more, I guess. Bloodborne.
Oh, it's gonna be annoyingly high. 87.
Critics do like Bloodborne because it was new, it was faster. They love the Souls-like games. You said 87? I'm gonna say 90. I bet it's in the 90s. No, it's a modern game. You're right. Hold on. You said 87? That's a good guess. Dang it.
Well, you can guess first next time.
You know what? No, I'm sticking with 90 because you know what? It deserves it. I love Bloodborne. What is it, Michael?
Alan gets that one. That is a 92.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
That game's real good. I'm sorry, Al. It's so good.
I love Bloodborne.
Whatever.
I love Bloodborne.
It's fine.
It scares me so much, but I do love it.
My wife hates the sound effects.
Because it's awful. There's a whole level with a baby crying. That's just horrible. Screw that game. I love it, but also screw it.
The new God of War. Nice, 94.
Xenosaga Episode 1.
You are mean. They hate it because there's too many cutscenes. I remember.
This is the original. This is the original rating from its release.
Oh wait, I said Alan could guess first this time.
76. As much as it pains me.
I was gonna say 76. I'm like, I'll say 81.
I hope so. I hope that's right.
It's 83.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
For those that are curious, we chatted about Xenosaga on the episode we did on Michael's channel.
Good.
So
I want them to redo it so bad. I love Xena movie.
That's all the ones I have, and I also don't know the score because it ended up closer. But I'm just gonna say
L1 by far. She won a lot. Michael, how do you feel about an RPG that has 8.5 hours of cutscenes? Often, hold on. You cannot save it in between. Often the cutscenes are 30 plus minutes.
they're really long.
So I tend to just be along for the ride for whatever game I'm playing. So
You're so chill, Michael.
I would probably make fun of that fact, but that alone would not turn me off unless the cutscenes were very dumb.
No, they're awesome.
Okay.
So cool.
They're just they're really long. They're really long.
They are. There are some.
I love a good cut. So, okay, I might be wrong about this, but when Final Fantasy X first came out for PlayStation 2, weren't there some cutscenes that you couldn't skip?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I would believe that, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, unless my memory is incorrect on this.
PlayStation 2 era, most games didn't have skippable cutscenes, even when you had to rewatch them for boss fights.
Yes, and that's where I'm going with this. So I remember, like I was saying before, when I was a kid, so my sister, there was like a period of time when she would still play video games with me, and so I have fond memories of us playing Final Fantasy X, and we were not good at it because we were children, but we could not beat the boss fight right before you get to Bevelle. Alan, I'm sure you know the one. And you're on the airship, and there's a really long cutscene right before that boss.
Is this the Seymour one?
Seymour is it's why don't
Seymour on the airship? Is that not
right?
right?
No, Seymour's not on the airship. So
my bad.
You don't have Yuna, which I think was part of the problem because
the
healer's gone. Yes. So there's a bunch of there is a long cutscene right before, and we kept dying, and then we kept having to fight it. And I remember we finally beat it, and I've told this story before. Our PlayStation was hooked up to an outlet that you turned on and off with the light switch. And we beat it, and we got really excited, and my mom came in and hit the light switch wanting to see it. And then it shut off, and we were so mad. And
why are outlets tied to light switches? As someone who has also been burned by someone being like, shut the light off. No!
So that was really sad for us. But I remember I was like, I loved my sister growing up. I was so obsessed with her, and she was not into me because I was 5 years younger. So, but I remember being like, Sissy, I'm going to beat this boss fight for her. And I did. But then after you beat that boss, you then have to fight. You'll remember this too, Alan. There's the soldiers that have guns in Bevelle because it's a more advanced city. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And then so I just paused it until my sister got home. And I was like, Brittany, I beat the boss, but now there's more fighting. And then she took over. But I have a really fun story because we talked about Tomb Raider earlier. Once again, we were terrible. And Alan, you said you've never played the Tomb Raiders, but Michael, did you ever play them?
Not the original ones.
Okay, so the very first one has a T-Rex in it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty early on, but we thought we were really far in because we were, like dying all the time. And my sister would always pass me the remote whenever, like, you know how the graphics were so bad that before you walked into a new area, it was just basically black and you couldn't really see what was there until you walked in. And they always started playing like the creepy music or the music that like meant something's coming after you. And so every time my sister would be on like the threshold of a new place and then she'd be like, you do it. And then I was like, because I would get frustrated, like, come on, let's go. And she's like, you do it then. And she would give it to me. And there was one time, and thus far, all you'd fought were like wolves and bats and sometimes a bear. And then I walk into this area for her and there's this giant T-Rex and I was little and I got scared and I like threw the remote in a panic and hit our TV. But we're so mad because my cousin came over and she's basically the same age as me, right? Which meant she was also a very little kid. And we, of course, could not get past the T-Rex. And my cousin came over and she didn't know what she was doing at all. And she like fell into this pool of water. And we were like, Cheyenne, come on, like you gotta get. And so she accidentally found a spot where the T-Rex couldn't get you, but that you could shoot the T-Rex from. Yeah. So you get into the water, you like go underneath. There's a velociraptor or whatever. So we killed that. And then you have to kind of climb up to get to this spot. And she killed it. And we were so excited because we're like, yeah, you killed the T-Rex. And she's like, cool. And she pushed the analog stick and just like Laura fell and died. And we're like, well, I guess we're going to have to try to kill this T-Rex again.
Oh my goodness.
I kind of miss the days of being a child and being really bad at games because it made everything so exciting.
It wasn't just like being bad at them. It was also having no idea what was possible.
Yeah,
so you filled in the gaps with, I could do anything in this game. But then as an adult, you've played a lot of them, so they're not that hard. And also, you know what games are capable of doing. And it is a little bit of a bummer.
I will say sometimes you go back to play old games and you're like, these are really hard. But as we've talked about before, they're hard sometimes because they weren't developed as well as new games. But
a lot of, like, I guess historically, a lot of developers were coming off of the coin-op era. So they were used to making games intentionally hard so that you spend more quarters. And when they switched to home consoles, they still had a lot of those, like, where is the balance between fun and difficulty? And their sliders were off.
So why do you like Bloodborne then?
So Bloodborne it gives me a little bit of that feeling that you had when you were a kid, because when you're a kid, you would bash your head against the boss over and over and you would finally overcome it. Bloodborne is that for like me as an adult, because it's actually hard.
It is hard. Yeah.
And
so do you like the game Neo?
I want to play Neo.
Okay, you would probably like it.
Probably. I mean, I would consider it a Souls-like. So
yeah, it is.
Alan, I bet you would really like Neo because of
I played the demo, but it was before I ever played Bloodborne. So I was like, why is this? Because I mean, I like the Japanese setting, obviously.
Yep, that's why I thought you'd like it.
But I love Bloodborne because I really like Lovecraftian, like gothic horror type stuff, and so I love the setting of Bloodborne. And I also, I played it alongside my buddy, like we were playing it at the same time. And so, that kind of added to my experience. And the hardest thing of Bloodborne for me, besides this one stupid optional boss, was the first area when you don't know how to play. And I had no idea what to do. But and that's what I think Bloodborne does really well, is that you figure out how to do it without realizing that you're getting better at the game, because it always stays hard. But then you go back to the early areas, you're like, oh, well, this is a cakewalk.
We do laugh because one of the guys that we play Ghost with online has beaten Bloodborne quite a few times. Yeah. But now he's currently playing Metroid and is having a really difficult time with it. And I'm always so like confused because I'm like,
so
well, part of it, one of the reasons that I like the Souls games, and I would not like them if you could not do this, is if you are stuck, you can grind and you can level your stats to make yourself stronger. It's still hard, but it removes, like, a lot of the people who really like the challenge, they keep themselves at a low level so that it's much harder. Screw that. I'm going to grind and give myself a health bar this big. I'm going to, have max my stamina out so I can keep rolling. And that's what makes it fun for me. If I had to do the whole thing with a little tiny health bar, it wouldn't be fun. It would be too.
I think I would like Dark Souls, but I only played a little bit of Bloodborne, but I don't like the I don't know if there's a term for this, but you know how part of Bloodborne is now I have this ladder down over here, so it won't take me an hour to go from this place to this place. I can just go there now.
You save scum. So if you can save, what you do is you save and then, because yes, I would have hated that also. So Finn and I, being bad at it, you save, when you save, you exit out, upload the save to the cloud, go back in, and then if you die before you save again, you literally exit out, download your save from the cloud back onto your hard drive, and so you don't lose that progress. So anytime you're about to do something hard, you save it so that you don't have to. I forgot that that's part of the experience that we just skipped by doing that. Michael, are you shaking your head? Do you disapprove?
Yeah. When people speak heresy, I usually disapprove.
What do you mean heresy?
Yeah. The reason the reason why something like Dark Souls is different than something like Metroid is because the developers use different tools to try to speak to the player, and Metroid is very good about making sure that it tells the player to only stay within a certain area. So if you're stuck, you can never go too far backwards. There's always a wall there. What all the Souls games do, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, is they are very obscure in their languages, but they very much enforce, this is what things look like when you're supposed to do them. This is how you're going to learn how to fight or you will die. And this is the way you play this game. And if you follow the rules we're teaching you, you will progress. And if you forget the rules that we're teaching you, we will remind you with constant death. It's like a beautiful thing, because I consider the Souls games like a hard but fair coach who's trying to get you to be good at an instrument or a sport or something.
Okay, that's exactly what I was about to say. You know what this reminds me of is there's a pretty big difference in classical music and jazz. A lot of jazz is you learn by ear, and a lot of classical, not that you don't and that you can't. You want to build your ear, but you have sheet music, right? And I'm classical and my husband is jazz, and I'm like, give me the notes and I will practice, and I will get really good and I'll memorize it, and then I'll figure out where I want to shift and where I want where I want to add a faster vibrato. I'll figure all that out once I know what to do. And I feel like Bloodborne is the people that prefer to learn things by ear, and like they feel like they know it better because they learned it by ear, where I'm like, you gave me the raw materials and then I learned it, and then I can, does that make sense? I feel like it ties to like the kind of other creative things out there.
I'm the tough but fair coach with Michael, trying to educate him on good opinions. So I'm tough, but I'm fair. And also, Michael, what is heretical about making a save?
About cheating in Dark Souls?
How is that cheating? I still have to beat it on my own. I just don't have to run back for an hour.
Michael, are you the kind of person that thinks you're not really experiencing a game if you fast travel?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
I think that so I'm very against most open world games, because I feel like they're mostly repetitive, and they mostly are built on algorithmic fun instead of crafted fun, like individually by developers. But I will fast travel in every single open world game, with the exception of something like Spider-Man, where just swinging is the fun of the game.
That was Tsushima for me, L. Tsushima was so beautiful. I'm like, I'm just gonna run everywhere instead of fast traveling.
Poor Deshauna, because she lives in Arizona. I have literally made her watch me play Ghost because I'm like, Deshauna, look how beautiful this game is.
Michael, are you saying that because Dark Souls or Bloodborne within the game does not permit me to do what I do, that's why it's heretical?
Yeah. I mean, the original intention of the game is that it's constantly auto-saving, so you cannot do what you just described.
See,
It
but
is auto-saving, but that's why I'm downloading and overwriting that autosave.
Yeah, exactly. You are breaking the system.
No, but I'm still the game is still hard. I'm just saving myself the time of having to run
I'm
back.
not actually going to be like some kind of nasty gatekeeper, but I will also be a gatekeeper and be like, you didn't actually beat it. Sorry.
I most certainly did. Michael, what has it added other than me having to run back? That's it. I still like the game.
This is why I don't find it fun, because
I wouldn't have found it fun if I had to run back every time.
Okay, that's fair. So Neo has some aspects of like, oh, you're gonna have to start all the way back over here now, but I feel like it's smaller scale then, because correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Bloodborne kind of like one continuous like place in a sense?
Yes, but there's checkpoints essentially.
Yeah, Neo is. I only played some of it, and after a while, I was like, I don't know if this is the game for me. But it kind of had like, once you got past this area, now there's like a new level essentially, and there's a boss at the end of that, and then there's a new one. So that part of the gameplay is not that bad compared to the other ones, because it's like only so much that you're gonna have to redo. But I hate that. I find it so frustrating.
The saving thing, I didn't even like. It was such a part of me and my buddies' Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne experience that it didn't even occur to me that like that is not the normal way to play. So I'm sitting here talking to Michael.
You're literally going outside the game to break it.
Yeah, but again, my skill is still required to be able to beat the bosses. So I still have to get good, but I just don't have to.
I agree.
Alan, I have to tell you, just because you just said it, I have pre-recorded. I haven't finished editing it. A tier ranking video, and one of the yeah, but spelled GIT.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
What, Michael?
So obviously I don't really care. I don't like. I'm not a gatekeeper.
Me.
But what I would say is the game design decision that you are overcoming, which you're free to overcome, whatever the frick.
Yes.
Is you are not being punished as harshly. So if it's a harsh but fair teacher, you're not letting him slap your wrist enough. It's supposed to hurt more when you mess up.
That's true. I will give you that, but I have limited time.
I'm not gonna say in other games I have not also bypassed something that annoyed me, but in Bloodborne I'm a chicken and I run.
Well, it's funny because I guess you said in game, if it's in game, and Alan's going out of game. Because in Metroid, you said, when I was talking about finding other ways to do the Shine Spark puzzles and stuff like that, and you're like, well, that's
Michael is big on if the game allows you to do it, then it's fair.
Yeah. Even if it's sometimes a little cheap.
Even if like playing
Street Fighter, I just said they made the game wrong.
Even if you just like crouch kick in Street Fighter, you think that's
I mean, the only way I could beat Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy as a kid is by tripping constantly, because you could trip loop.
That's ridiculous.
But I was also 3.
You guys can totally keep talking, but I probably need to go because.
Oh no, that's fine. We've been recording for a while, so
this has been so fun.
It was fun.
I was just curious how long I would let us crash her channel.
I know.
As long as we could.
Michael.
Go check out Michael's. It's Press X2 Revolution, right?
Yeah.
I'm always like, is it Press X4 Revolution? And I joke that when you sign off, you should say press circle for cancellation.
Yeah.
That's your outro.
Definitely should.
I have to tell you, when I was sick, I know I'm still getting over it. I felt so bad at one point during the recording. I was like bending over because I needed to, got snot in my mouth and I was like trying to spit it out. But when I was really feeling sick, I was like just sitting in the bath listening to our previous one, because I was like, it was so fun. I never get to chat video games.
Yes, we definitely should do it more often. I love.
You are welcome to join the live stream anytime.
And then maybe we can do this again too, where, well, I mean, yours is already obviously with the point of talking about video games. But I don't know, maybe we can do like video game and combine like other stuff once a month or something, like a fantasy chat. We talk about video games, talk about anime, we talk about books a little bit. I know in yours.
Yeah, we should. If we're gonna do that, we should set it up on a time that we can talk for longer, where we can talk for longer, rather than
an hour 40 minutes.
Well, I mean, we could have run to 2 hours easily.
Dude, Alan's got some live streams. These posted are like 4 hours long. I'm like, dang, man.
Wait, let me be fair and saying I don't know if I want to sit and talk for 4 hours.
Dude, I don't think I could stay awake for 4 hours straight.
Sean is just only home in the evenings for so long before he has to go to sleep, you know? So I want to make sure I get to hang out with my husband a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Sean
what
is cooler than Alan.
I moved a test earlier this week because I'm like, you know what? Like, it's irritating. Like, I have my brother and my fellow teacher and my friend over once every other week to play Gloomhaven. And it ticks me off that I have to decide, do I want to hang out? Like, do I want to be social or do I want to do my job? So they didn't leave till like 11 o'clock. It's a long game. And then I was like, I can spend this last hour hanging out with my wife, or I can sit and try to write 2 tests. I'll move it. And that's what I just moved them. And then I had to do it.
When we end the broadcast, I have to run something by you guys. It's an idea, but I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
What a tease. It's just such a
But the reason I'm saying it is because, Michael, I know that you sometimes when you leave, you literally exit out like as and you have left your own broadcast.
I do just leave my broadcast running.
Wasn't it just me and Andrew like sitting there like being like, I guess Michael's gone.
I think I've left you by yourself even. Just like, up, see ya.
Well, this was super fun. I'll have, of course, both of your individual booktube channels, but then also the Press X to Revolution channel linked. And if there's anything you guys want me to link in the description bar for this, since it wasn't live, and I can, add stuff. I'm definitely not editing anything, and I'm certainly not editing the most random of beginnings of a video.
Don't believe me, this
Oh my goodness.
This was super fun.
Thank
Yay.
you. Thank you for having me.
This was fun.
Okay. Waluigi. Bye, everybody.